Good morning. Today is Tuesday, February the 9th, and it's been about a week since I put up a video, and at this time of year things change really quickly, so I wanted to do a quick video this morning. It's about 7 a.m. Before my kids wake up and I have to get ready for my day. So first of all, I want to just show you the different things that have changed, how my containers are going, the greenhouse, and the garden. So I have put up a lot of lights to make it more cheerful out here after dark and before daylight. And I have these, my husband got me these solar lights from Amazon for Christmas year before last, and I finally broke them out. And I just have them on my containers, and then there is an opening right there, and I'm going to put some in that opening right here. I'm going to put some stepping stones to my greenhouses right there, and then there's another opening on that side. But last night I came out here after I put them up and they were all working, thankfully. And so in this first pot I just have some oregano and some Johnny jump ups. Sorry about that rooster. For some reason he thinks he needs to compete with what I'm saying. And then I just put a new container right here with some pansies and petunias and begonia. I found those begonias, all the begonias that I've put out so far, I found on the clearance rack at Lowe's. And then here is my Persian lime, which I'm super excited. Last time I showed you I only had one flower, and now it has several. So hopefully pretty soon it'll start putting on some Persian limes. And then you can see my Meyer lemon tree here has got a bunch of fruit on it everywhere. So I'm super excited about that. Still picking lemons off of this tree, and I still have a ripe one down there, and it has started. Well, actually, let me see. This is actually the key lime down there, because there's a key lime in this container with it. But it's got a couple key limes on it. So I don't know if I don't think it'll do any more lemons this year, but I still am going to get lemons from that guy. So in this pot I have some flat leaf parsley that's going crazy, and then I have some petunias, sorry, not petunias, but pansies in there with them. And then my jasmine is coming back, and I have a lot of pansies and dianthus in there, in that pot with him. And then here I have some cilantro and some pansies, dianthus, and snapdragons. And this one on this side is doing much better. I think it's because the house protected him from frost. He got some frost, but not as bad as the other side. But he's going to be alright. He's going to come back. And then here I have these, and I've been trying to think of what they are. But they are petunias. They started blooming, and they're these beautiful petunias that I planted in here last year that overwintered perfectly well. I've got some more spilling out of that pot. Happy as ever. And then down there in my lime tree, or my Meyer lemon, I've got some more. So I just purchased some cloning containers from Amazon. They're just seed starting domes, and I am going to be cloning a bunch of flowers. And so here is another begonia. Not begonia. What is it? I can never think of the name of it. Anyway, got some more of that, and then my little lights go on, and more dianthus and pansies and snapdragons. That's basically the theme of what's going on in these containers. And I have some chives in here with some pansies and snapdragons. This is a new container I put together yesterday. Just has some purple pansies, some tricolor pansies right there, and these beautiful snapdragons. Snapdragons, I love that color. And then going over here by my greenhouse, I have another container that has some begonias in it, but they got hit by the frost, so they're looking weak right now. But some more Johnny jump ups. And then in these containers, I have planted spinach, which I can see some spinach coming up in there, and some different kinds of kale, and turnips, and lettuces, some black seed Simpson lettuce, just a bunch of different kinds of greens that I had a little bit in each pack, and I just threw in there to see what would come up. And then right here is my Palram greenhouse, and here's the containers that I've done here. These are just some red petunias that were on the clearance rack at Lowe's, some white petunias that I purchased to pop in for some more color, and some Johnny jump ups. And I just repeated the same thing on this side. And then I'll show you before we go into the greenhouses. This is a new bed that I put in beside the new greenhouse, and I just have some strawberries right here growing that I got from Lowe's. And then I have 3 Mad Hatter peppers that I overwintered in my garden that were covered up by weeds, so that they made it through the frost. But as you can see, I just threw this bed together because I wanted to grow some more cabbages, but I don't have any room, any place that I want to take up with cabbages in my garden, because I'm going to be planting out squash and stuff like that soon. But I needed some more full sun. So these 3, or there's 4 cabbages here. This one, this one, this one, and this one. And they were planted out in my garden, but they were not getting enough sun. They just weren't thriving. So I dug them up and planted them here because I get tons of sun and morning sun in this spot next to this greenhouse. And I had went and bought some Napa cabbages and some Savoy cabbages that I popped in here. Those are the Napa cabbage, Chinese cabbage, and then those are the Savoy cabbage. And just got some snapdragons and some marigolds popped in. And then down here I got some red leaf lettuce and some green leaf lettuce varieties going in right there. And then on these planters at the end, I planted the wasabi arugula from Baker Creek, and I planted some cos romaine, and I also planted some cilantro. Cilantro I don't think it's coming up yet. And then in this container right here, I planted a bunch of zinnia mix. So I had a flower rocket zinnia pack from Dollar Tree, and I just rolled it out in that little container and started seeds. So once the stuff gets bigger, I can transplant it. But here's what we got going on in this guy here. So I'm going to be doing a seed share again, to share a bunch of the seeds that I've started in here that you'll hear me talking about, and I may have not shared them before because they're from Walmart or Dollar Store, or I even got a new My Heritage seeds in, so I'll be doing that soon. But I've got some lemon peppers that I've started, some pinata mix cayenne, some kaleidoscope bells, and these are just Burpee and Ferry Morris Lowe's and Walmart seeds. But the white minstrel dianthus back there has come up, and also the Cardinal Basil has started coming up, and the Queen Salvia right there is coming up. And I can come out here in the morning and in the evening, and different stuff will be jumped up. Got some sweet basil that I've started right there, and also some sweet williams, which are a type of dianthus, that are coming up here. These bachelor buttons were some old seed that I had that came up nicely. And let's see what else. We got some shiso, which didn't come up very good, but I can see more starting to pop out. Now it's been a little bit warmer. Also the purple basil, and back there you can see some snapdragons. Those are the black prince snapdragons, and then there's the Magic Michael basil, which was a really old seed that I got from my neighbor, and I've already took some of that out and transplanted it in my strawberry planter. And then I got the orange icicle from tomato from Baker Creek, and then the one next to it is the Amish paste. And then we have the white cherry from M.I. Gardener, and I think that's pretty much it. I just started those monster beefsteak, gold bunch, and pink oxheart tomatoes, but they haven't come up yet. And then over here I got some purple sprouting broccoli that is coming up that had old seed that I never had planted because I lost them. And then the pink plume celery back there from M.I. Gardener. It is coming up great, so I'm really excited about that. Some really old bees mixed flowers, or old seeds I should say. And then the Turkish orange eggplants still coming up. And my sunflowers that I'm planting have been coming up good. I'm about to plant some more. But I have the red torch from Baker Creek, a Chianti hybrid, which I got from Walmart, I believe. It's a Fairy Morris. And then the Busy Bee sunflower. And I can't remember right now where I got it from. Maybe Baker Creek? I'm not real sure. That's all that's germinated down there. And then in here I have my cucumbers. I got the Fairy Morris burpless Market Moors. The Market Moors came up like crazy. They did great. Those are just Dollar Tree seeds. The Calypsos are taking longer than any of them from Hoss Tools to come up, which I'm really surprised about because they are Hoss Tools seeds. But last year I tried their Max Pack and I didn't have very much luck with them, and so I was worried that there was a cucumber issue happening, but they're starting to come up, so I'm happy about that. And then we have the Munchers from the Dollar Tree, which are coming up great. They do good, as well as some Dollar Tree National Pickling. And then my favorite ones over here, Armenian. So I'm going to be planting those out in the garden pretty soon. And we'll go ahead and look in the other greenhouse and then take a quick look around the garden. So our last frost date is the 17th according to the almanac at 9A this year, and I looked at the forecast through the 22nd of February, and it said that we were not going to have anything below 40 degrees. So we planted some stuff out in the garden. So I did plant out, you'll see I'm missing a thing of tomatoes down here. The first tomatoes that I started back in November, which were determinants, Rutgers, and Romas, I started those. I put those out in the garden. I had about 6 or 7 of them that had grown. And the deal with, I started those determinants back in November, but we had such a cold November and December, which is uncharacteristic for us, that the plants never did grow in the greenhouse because it wasn't heated. I mean, they stayed alive, but they just didn't grow because they didn't have the heat. So they were just now big enough to put into the garden. And then yesterday I went to Lowe's and they had some tomatoes, and they had just put out their jalapenos, their banana peppers, just their very beginning tomatoes and peppers. So I bought 4 tomato plants to go with the ones I had ready to transplant because I was itching to get some tomatoes in the ground. So what we got going on here is the canary orange, which is a large cherry from Hoss Tools. These are the Constelluto Genovese from M.I. Gardener. And after I was out here this weekend, it rained pretty much all day on Friday and Saturday. I put these out here on Saturday morning. I took all these trays out and I set them on my planting table and let the rain just rain on them. And after I did that, they all look so much better. So we got some Dr. Witchies and some Chef's Choice. More Dr. Witchies, more Constelluto Genovese, Dr. Witchies, and then this is just a variety of Chef's Choice, Napa Chardonnay. I got a Juliet back there, Kellogg's Breakfast, and then here is my Peacock Broccoli. I just potted a bunch of it yesterday out of the 4-inch pot, so I've got 5 of these. And I gave my neighbor the rest of them. I had so many and they did so well. Those seeds were like gangbusters, and the tap roots and everything were so straight and had such a good root system on them. I've thought about planting them straight into the ground, but I didn't have a bed ready. So over here I got some purple onion that I planted in here, and then this is early straight neck squash, which hasn't germinated. And then down here, I've got my dwarf green patty pan that I grew last year, and some of my burpee spaghetti squash that I grew last year, growing in there. And then I have the celebrations from Hoss Tools, which are a determinate hybrid, and then some more canaries. And then I have planted out my North Georgia candy roasters and butterfly peas, some more Constelluto Genovese because I had lost my other ones in the greenhouse. I thought they were eggplants until I pulled them out and found out that they were the Genovese, and I had already planted some, so we're gonna have extra. And then I planted some more stuff here as far as tomatoes are concerned. I got some red grape tomatoes, yellow cherry. So these are an experiment. I bought some a mixed variety of cherry tomatoes, the color pack from Whole Foods, and I just took the seeds out and planted them. This is the red grape, the yellow cherry, and then I have a store bell pepper that I planted the seeds from right there. And then I have some tomatoes and Napa Chardonnay, Sweeties, Kellogg's, and Wolverine there. So I just planted these seeds. And then orange cherry tomato. That's another one of those ones from the Whole Foods cherry tomato pack. And then there's a black cherry. And then I got some parsley and some Jubilee tomatoes from, believe, in my gardener. And then these are some Burpee's Best mixed marigolds, and they jumped up so quickly. So I'm excited about that. And then I've already been planting some of my peas out. I got the Easy Peasies. These little marvels are ready to go in the garden. I just planted some. This was little marvel here, and I planted those out in the garden this weekend. And then I've got some more rattlesnake pole beans and some more sugar snaps, sugar daddy sugar snaps, and then some more tomatoes. These are the great white tomato from in my gardener. And then I have more beans I've started, some more rattlesnakes, some yellow wax, Kentucky Wonders, and the yard long Chinese bean. And then back here I actually had one of these peppers come up, but I started a bunch of pepper seeds in the house on the heat mat to kind of move things along. And then the borlato beans haven't come up yet. I do have, I think it's raining outside, that sucks, but I do have some cherry tomato plants in here from Lowe's. They're called Cocktail, and they have some green tomatoes on them. So oh, I almost got one that's ripe in here. So very interested in starting to get some cherry tomatoes, because I'm tired of buying them. I have all these tomato plants and I'm having to buy tomatoes for my salad, and they are nowhere near as good that way. And there's a couple things I have that's new going on in the garden that I'll show you that I did in the past week. Did these containers yesterday with some red flame salvia and some blue lobelia, or lobelia, I'm not sure how you say it, And then there's some of the buttercream yellow pansies in there. But I just love the color of these lobelia, I think they're called. I only have seen these in phlox in the springtime in that color at my garden center, and I absolutely love that color. It's so beautiful. So I wanted to do a container with it, with also my all-time favorite red flame salvia. And then I put some lights up here as well on my garden gate, and then I got some more that I got to put on my chicken yard. But I'll start with the first thing that I did that's new in case I get rained out. So I have filled in this bed, and I've got ultimate hybrid carrots here. I've got Hercules carrots here from Hoss Tools. I've got a row of rutabagas, the Laurentia rutabagas from Hoss Tools. And then I have Danvers carrots here. And then this last box, I've transplanted beets and the cylinder beets from Hoss Tools and the purple top turnips from Hoss Tools. And they are looking good. This rain is actually helping me out quite a bit. So in this bed, I've got these sectioned out now and kind of cleaned out a little bit. I've got some of my Savannah spinach, or I'm sorry, Savannah mustard from Hoss Tools that I've been eating off of, and they're getting pretty good size. And you can hardly tell the difference between the Savannah mustard and then back there is the Sun Angel spinach. And of course, besides it being bigger, it kind of looks the same. And then my watermelon radish is back there doing great. And then you'll see I got a little row of little marble peas that I put in the ground back there. And then in here I have planted some a red beefsteak from Lowe's that I got yesterday, and that is a little celebration tomato from the seeds from Hoss Tools. And then I planted some white onions from Lowe's in there. And then I have another container of lettuces that I planted here and here. And then my chives are coming back. I planted them, and they've been growing there for 5 or 6 years now at least, and I just cut them back because I got frost and they're just coming back crazy. Here's what my cabbages are looking like. And then if I turn around, I've got my purple onion bulbs that I've planted here. And then I've replanted out my spinach spinach starts in my spinach bed because I was getting to where I only had a couple of spinach left that was coming up. So we've redone that whole bed. We still have 3 cells full of starts that I gotta figure out what to do with. And then there is my lettuce and my broccoli. And you can see from here the heads of the broccoli are getting ready to eat. And we have been eating on this bed primarily with the lettuce. And you can see that I have popped in some Savoy cabbage in the bare spots, but we've only got a couple more lettuces left to do. But look at some of these heads on these. I mean, yeah, they're looking good. But that is my broccoli, my green magic broccoli, favorite variety. And then here's my Bonnie's Best over here, trying to start heading up. They're behind because they don't get the sun as much as they should, which is why I planted those other ones up front. But here's some broccoli back here. This is the crop, premium crop, starting to head up. And then here is my potatoes that I started here. And then here's my other bed of lettuce that we are starting to work on. So you can see I've got some beautiful heads of lettuce right there, and that's just looking great. And then I took out the the cabbages that were on this side because they were not getting enough sun. They were being shaded the whole day, so they were not growing. So I went ahead and put them in the front. And then you'll see here I've got some yellow onions that have started coming up. And then I've got this whole row in green shelling peas. So these are the Laxton Progress, and let's see, the Lincoln peas. So the Lincoln peas are old seed that I got from my neighbor that came up. And then right here is going to be my cucumber bed for now. And I planted out about 14 different cucumbers of the green dragons and the tasty greens, but after all these frosts, even though I covered them up, only about 5 of them have survived, maybe 6. So I'm going to be replanting that with the ones in the greenhouse. And these are here. And then this is the most exciting thing in the whole garden that I want to show you. One of my tomato beds are full of tomatoes. I'm so excited. It doesn't matter how much stuff is in my garden. If my garden does not have tomatoes in it, it feels bare to me. So these guys, this one, and this one, are ones that I got back in November. That they're Better Boy Burpee hybrids, or Bonnie's. I'm sorry, they're Bonnie's Better Boy hybrids. And I have babied them. You see the blankets that I have up there. I have babied them to try to get them through winter so that I can have early tomatoes. And they made it. This one tried to put on a tomato earlier, and I took it off so it could just concentrate on surviving. This one got beat up by the frost, but it's still got plenty of foliage to get it going again. So I'm super excited. And then I'll just tell you what I got down here. That's my big boy from Burpee. And then this is the Bonnie's Best Parks Whopper Improved. And then next to it I have a determinate. Those are indeterminates, by the way. And I have a determinate Rutgers that I started in the greenhouse. And then I have this Burpee Big Boy next to it. And then I got 2 a Roma and a Celebration, which are both determinates, next to it. And then this is a Bonnie's Big Beef. So I've had this one a little bit longer than the other 2. And then I have a Bonnie Big Boy. And then I have a determinate Rutgers from my greenhouse, and a Bonnie Early Girl hybrid. And then I have 2 Romas from my greenhouse. And then I have a row of yellow onions, and then I have some white onions right there that I have planted. So that is what's going on there. And then I've got some more spinach, or more lettuce that I've successioned here, romaine, and some leaf lettuce. And my white Kennebecs are starting to come up. My potatoes, and it looks like, well, maybe this is moss. Looking like my grow bags, but potatoes take a long time to grow up, especially when you plant them and they don't have eyes on them. So here's my strawberries. I got some Ozark Beauties and some All-Star, which I grew the All-Star in here last year. I got some in that pot still, but I got these 3 pots of strawberries, and then these are just stackers from Dollar Tree. And then I have some dill growing in there, a couple of pansies, and then here is my Vidalia onions with some yellow onions popped in, and they're doing pretty good. And then here's some more yellow onions with some red onions popped in. And then these are more that I got from the garden center yesterday. I got a habanero, a jalapeno. I got 2 jalapenos, and I got a gypsy sweet pepper and a hot banana. So hopefully my pepper seeds that are in the house will be germinating soon. So here's 2 new beds that I built here. Haven't put anything in them or know what I'm going to put in them yet. But I'll probably I'm thinking I'm gonna put just flowers in this bed, and I'm not sure what in that bed yet. But I have a plan to take apart this big bed here and do some rows. Do at least 3 or 4 rows going this direction right there. So you might see that coming up in the next couple of weeks. I don't have anything back here in my tires yet because there ain't no reason, because it's too shaded in this time of year. In the summer, in the spring, you know, it gets a lot more sun than it does right now. And this is just a flower seeds that I've got planted here. Not really anything coming up yet, but this is my kohlrabi and cauliflower bed. And I've got a few kale popped in. So that is my white Vienna kohlrabi that I got from Ferry Morris at Walmart, and he should start heading up soon. So as soon as it gets a little bit warmer, I think he's going to start heading up, because they said it's a 50-day plant, and I planted it back in November. So and then here I've got a row of my graffiti cauliflower, and then this last one is my quick star. These last 3 rows are quick star kohlrabi from House Tools. So this is what the garden looks like from this angle. So I still don't have anything in these 3 beds that I built, but over here I've got my Yellowstone carrots are all coming up perfectly well. And then I got my gold nugget House Tools that are starting to look great in their perfect little uniform lines. And then this is what my red romaine and my cauliflower is looking like. That cauliflower in the back, I think, is starting to head up. They don't hardly get any sun back here, so I don't see heads yet, but I can see them start folding up. And so this is this little section here. So right here I got my sugar snap peas, which are starting to flower and make little baby peas on them finally. Got some Danvers carrots right there with some watermelon radishes planted on the other side. Planted some onions, some Spanish onions right there in that pot that haven't come up. It's a flower from last year. And then in here I have my lacinato dinosaur kale and some romaine lettuce. And then here I have my Ruby Perfection cabbages, and I planted a couple of stray little romaine starts there as well. And then along the border I have curly kale